Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Hammer's Chat. We've got an important video, and that's just talking basically about how wrong Geo and Gonzo are. And these two are going to say, oh, we didn't say they were wrong. No, I'm saying they're wrong. Wrong-uns, the pair of them. No fear, no surrender. Anyway, welcome. We're going to speak about the Man City game, the preview earlier. And that's because if you don't know, on patreon.com/Hammers Chat, if you are one of the people who are in the top tier, that you get a group chat. There's a whole big group chat we have where we talk about stuff, right? A secret group chat, which you can be involved with if you get involved. Patreon.com/Hammers Chat, link in the description below. But we were having this discussion on where the priorities lie. Because obviously West Ham are doing incredibly well right now. We're blitzing it in Europe. We're banging it out in the League Cup. We're doing everything we can to be as massive as possible. And so I thought when there was some conversation, it would be a good thing to get involved with. So we'll start with yourself. Charlie and Gatesy have joined me. Charlie, you were the person who I saw first started off the conversation in the GC. You didn't say Geo and Gonzo are wrong again. I will say that was me. But what do you think? What do you think about what they were saying earlier and where the sort of priorities lie in terms of the League Cup, the Premier League, and the Europa League?
I get where they was coming from. Oh, we lost Gatesy already. I get where they was coming from. But like they've said in previous seasons, I think my priority as a fan would be to win a trophy. And yes, we're doing well in Europe, but there comes a point in December, January when big teams come down from the Champions League into the Europa League, and that becomes a whole lot harder to win. Whereas you look at the makeup of the League Cup and the teams left in it at the moment, you've got Liverpool and Chelsea. Chelsea are drawing now, so they might not even go through, who kind of you fear if we get in the next round. But if we were able to get past City, there's 5 out of that 7 teams left that I'm not bothered about. I think we could beat. So I think that's our best chance of winning, our best chance of winning a trophy. And for that reason, we go full strength tomorrow and try and beat whatever City team Guardiola puts out.
Ray, what about you? Not Ray. I'm so used to 2 Spanish, 1 Hammer, Hammer Chat Patreon exclusive podcast that I just called Gatesy Ray, which is amazing because Ray keeps calling people Gatesy. Ray,
he does.
Gatesy. What's your general stance on the issue about where the sort of priorities lie when you're talking about those sort of 3 tournaments?
I've never seen. I've got no memory of watching West Ham winning a major trophy. I am going to be 46 years of age later this year. Not sort of like 96 as Duke likes to portray me on Falls from Iron. I had to get the plug in there.
That's fine. And that's fine.
But you know, I want to see us A, getting to a Wembley final, B, winning a Wembley final. Now, exactly what Charlie's just said there. I think this represents a really tremendous opportunity. We're in good form. Not to say that Manchester City aren't, and obviously Manchester City have got a squad that even their bench you look at and go, bloody hell, they paid 50 million for him or whatever, you know what I mean? But you know, they're going to put out very likely a less than full strength team tomorrow. I think if we can put out something resembling our full strength 11 there or thereabouts, it might just be enough. And exactly what Charlie said, if we get through City, having got through United away in the previous round, why should we fear whatever's left in this competition from that point on? We've just taken care of Manchester United away and the 4-time up to this point consecutive winners of this tournament and the defending Premier League champions. No one else should really therefore hold too much. You know, we shouldn't fear anyone from this point onward, surely. And as I say, I was 4.5 when we won the FA Cup. I don't remember it. I've got no memory of it. And I'm now in my mid-40s. You know, we got to the FA Cup final in 2006, which was a great occasion for me. I was there in Cardiff, but it was in Cardiff. It wasn't Wembley. And I didn't go to the playoff final, so you know I've not got that in 2012. But even that's like it's a playoff final. It's not an FA Cup. It's not a League Cup. It's not, you know, a major trophy that's recognised around the world. So for me, tomorrow is our most important game of the 4 matches that were put up on the Hammers Chat WhatsApp, in my opinion. Now. You know, you said it at the outset. I've not turned around and said Geo and Gonzo are wrong. It's their opinion. This is mine. I just think that if we can get past City, we got a chance of contesting and winning a domestic cup at Wembley, and I'd love to have that. Yes, for my children, but selfishly for me, because I've never seen it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm much in the same boat. Let's not be real about it. I feel like I'm probably later in my mid-40s, but I'm not. I have the only chance we had was that FA Cup final against Liverpool, and obviously that went how it went. So I mean, seeing any trophy seeing any trophy. Yeah, neither do I. I'm not certain.
Stephen
when
Boone.
my Liverpool yeah, exactly. When my Liverpool supporting friends bring it up, don't know what they're talking about either. So obviously you'd want to see that, right? I mean, I think what's interesting right now is we're doing so well in every competition. 4th in the Premier League, a win against Genk, and we've topped the group with 2 games to spare, and then all of a sudden we're in the final 16 of that. And then obviously if we beat City, we're into the quarterfinals. Is there? I'll start with you, Gatesy, I guess, because we spoke about the levels of the games, them being City, Villa, Liverpool, and Genk, but we could talk about it sort of more widely, specifically in those general cups. Is there part of you that says, well, because for me, I think I prioritize the Europa League over everything else. For me, it would go Europa League, Premier League, and then the League Cup, even though if we beat City, we're already through to the quarterfinals. Is there part of you that thinks that getting further in the Europa League would be more beneficial to West Ham than going further in the League Cup, for example?
Well, obviously, if we won the Europa League, I mean that again would be a trophy, that, and obviously that's qualification to the Champions League. So from a financial point of view, there's no contest between, would you rather, if you was sort of like looking at it from a purely financial standpoint, League Cup win or Europa League win, it's a Europa League win all day long and twice on a Sunday. But I want to see a Wembley Cup final. I'm a little bit old school. Like I say, I want to see West Ham walking out at Wembley in a major cup final. I want to see that at some point before I'm done on this mortal coil. Now, like I say, I'm not, it might happen at some point in the next couple of years. Who knows? I mean, the way David Moyes has got the team operating, all things are possible. But, we can't sort of like turn our noses up at this opportunity, because, as I say, we get past City, having got past United. Confidence-wise, the squad is going to be on cloud 9. It will be a massive, massive boost. So the Europa League would be nice, but your domestic competitions, in my opinion, trump it.
Charlie, what about the idea of, say, that if we get further in the Europa League, then we can buy better players, in which means we can do better in the cups consistently than, say, trying to play a full strength side against City and going further in the Cup, where it wouldn't be as impactful on the transfers?
Yeah, I guess my point is that it's not an either or. I think we're with the Europa League where we are, we've given ourselves a comfortable position in terms of, even if we did lose against Genk next week, we go full strength against Vienna or Zagreb in the last 2 games. I think everyone would be very confident we'd win that and we'd finish top of the group. We probably don't even need a win in the last 3 games to finish top of the group. The group's been that way. So I don't think there is particularly an either or of what tomorrow night or the Europa League. And even assuming we do top the group in the Europa League, which I think we will, and I think most fans are pretty confident we will now, we haven't got another game in that competition till March. So for now, I would say, yeah, if we get to March and we get to April and the Europa League becomes number 1 priority, there is nothing more than any West Ham fan would like to see them Mark Noble lift the Europa League in Seville in May. But the priority for now, for me, is a League Cup we could win at Wembley in front of 90,000 fans, obviously not all ours. I don't even know when the final is, April, something like that.
Back end of February, beginning of March, usually, isn't it?
To be honest with you, it's usually just Manchester City winning it, so I don't pay too much attention to when the final actually happens. But let's talk about specific players then, because obviously Geo, for example, I know his side, I've got it written down here, was a fully rotated side, like no stress whatsoever, just a full rotation. No Souček, no Antonio, for example, no Rice. And again, I should stress, if you haven't gone and watched the preview, definitely go do that. The link will be at the end of this video as well. But definitely go check that out. What kind of level sides are we putting out here, Gatesy? What kind of 11 are we seeing from you? Because obviously, I think there's a couple of options here. You have a full strength side, because we're going up against Manchester City, who are the 4-time defending champions, one of the best sides in the world. We have a slightly rotated team to some extent, which we're seeing sort of in the Europa League more often than not. We're seeing Rice, we're seeing Souček, we're seeing Antonio, but we're not seeing, say, Zuma and Ogbonna. Or you have a fully rotated team of the likes of which Geo and somewhat to some extent Gonzo were evangelizing. Which kind of level are you going for?
I think I'd bring in Areola. I think I'd bring in Diop at the expense of Ogbonna.
Okay.
I think I might debatable, but I might give Antonio on the bench and put Bowen up top and bring in Vlasic or Lanzini or Yarmolenko. But other than that, to be honest, I'd probably go as full strength as I could, because, as I say, we get past this. We're in the last 8 of the competition, and if we get a favourable draw and we get into the next round, we got a 2-leg semi-final. And to be honest with you, the form we're in, there's not many teams that over 2 legs I don't think we could overcome.
That's a fair side. So you're basically saying full strength with 1 or 2 changes here and there. Okay, that's fair enough. What about you, Charlie?
Well, I think what I do agree with what Gonzo said earlier is Man City's squad is unreal. Man City's second 11 is arguably better than our first 11, or as good at least. So I think we to stand any chance of getting through, I think we need to go full strength. When I say full strength, I think a couple of those that Gatesy mentioned, I would see us do without any drop in quality. I think Diop coming in isn't a drop in quality from Ogbonna. We've seen him with Zuma as a partnership, and they've been really good so far. Areola I'd bring in place of Fabianski. I don't see that as a drop in quality. And I don't think Benrahma or Fornals have done anything in the last few weeks to justify being first of 11, to be totally honest. Nothing too bad, but they just haven't been that clinical going forward. So I probably would bring in Vlasic for either or. Probably Benrahma, because Fornals has got the work rate and the defensive qualities that we're going to need against a quality Man City's team. But there's no way I'd be resting Antonio. There's nothing I want to see less than Yarmolenko starting up front against Man City's defence. That would scare me.
What happens if Antonio gets injured? Are you not concerned about that at all? Because that's the big concern for me. We just had a conversation on Two Spanners, One Hammer about it, where the biggest, I'm for rotating certainly to some extent. But the idea of Antonio is the only person who I can guarantee I would definitely rotate, because if he gets injured, we are so far up crap creek, you have no idea. It is a big issue. That's my big concern.
Yeah, I get that, and that was one of the points raised in the chat earlier. But I think there's as much chance as Antonio getting injured in the next game, in the next league game, the next cup game, in training, walking down the shops with Antonio's hamstrings. One extra game probably doesn't help him, but I guess that goes back to that priority, doesn't it? The priority being we want to get through to a cup final. Antonio's that first choice striker that, unfortunately, we don't have any other options at the moment. If he gets injured, you're going to get a lot of "I told you so's" about David Moyes not signing anything in January. Whether he gets injured tomorrow, whether he gets injured Saturday, whether he gets injured Thursday, it's just one of them things that we're going to have to deal with until we get to the point of January where hopefully the club sorts something out.
I guess, okay, so let's say we play a full strength side, Gatesy. Let's say it is like the side that you're sort of asking, which is essentially full strength for 1 or 2 changes. On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident would you be going up against Manchester City? Because like you say, they're a huge side. They win this for fun. They win this trophy for fun. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the least confident, 10 being, if anything, overly confident. How confident would you be of getting a result against Manchester City?
I think listen, exactly what Charlie said. Their bench is of supreme quality and would give pretty much every team in the Premier League a match.
Yeah.
Even at our strongest, it's going to be tough, and we would still be underdogs. I'm under no illusions about that. But we've had that tag thrown at us many times in the last 18 months under David Moyes' tenure, and we've managed more often than not to, overcome the odds. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, probably in all honesty, probably around about a 6, if I'm being honest. Which is probably, it's probably sort of like more than a lot of, sort of like if we was going to go in with a sort of like a heavily rotated team, I'd probably be seeing about a 2 or a 3. 6, I think, is probably about reasonable, and we would probably need a bit of luck. We probably need an awful lot of rotation from their side, and for us to be at full strength to have even a sniff of maybe, but I don't care how we do it. I mean, even if it was on penalties, do you know what? I'd take it. It's just about getting, and I couldn't care less how we do it. I couldn't care less what the style of football is. You'll know, because I had a little bit of a rant on the Hammers Chat WhatsApp group about managers having, managers of perceived bigger clubs than, their opposition, who've just taken points off of them, moaning and groaning about the opposition. Oh, they played negative football, they played long ball football, they did this, they did that. Hold on a minute, you're in charge of a team that's got like an £80 million goalkeeper, a £100 million striker, a £70 million central midfielder, and our entire squad cost 30 million or whatever. Do you know what I mean? And they sit there and they bleat. I'm going off on a tangent, but it's something that irks me. I had to get that one out. But no, I want to get through to that next round, and I couldn't care less how we do it. If we play long ball football, fluke a goal in the first minute, and then spend the next 89 minutes defending for our lives and getting through, and Pep Guardiola's moaning about the style of football, I couldn't care less. We're through. Done.
We got 60,000 sellout tomorrow night as well. The atmosphere in that stadium goes through the roof. If the lineups come out, we've gone full strength, got all our big names on there. Antonio, Rice, Souček starting. And Man City, however good they are, have got Fernandinho at centre-back or centre defensive mid. Gabriel Jesus up front. Quality players. But that change, that as soon as that lineup comes out, depending on what it is, can change the atmosphere massively tomorrow night.
Well, that's what I was going to say. So, Gatesy, we'll start with you. But then, like, if we do play a more rotated side, let's say the Europa League team, maybe, as opposed to a fully strength side, but we might see, for example, Rice or Souček drop out, something like that. But let's say City also play a heavily rotated side, because obviously we've seen, like, on social media tonight, I've not seen it, but I've been told 3 times now that there's rumors of like City bringing in. I don't know if it's rumors or whether it's he said it in a press conference or whatever. Again, I'm barely awake, so so me taking to having information is not true. But the idea of like them playing a heavily rotated side, them seeing youth players, how confident would you be then? So them having a rotated side and us playing a somewhat of a rotated side.
I think that the team might not be as weak as that. The reason why I say that is that I've just done a recording with Ray of City Fan TV, just asking for his take on things, and he said during the recording that he'd looked, because Manchester City's, I think their under 23s are actually playing tonight, and yes. He turned around and he said he's looked, and there's players. I think he said Liam Delap's playing tonight. And there was a couple of other players that he mentioned that certain publications have said might have been playing tomorrow. So the fact that they're playing tonight makes that extremely unlikely. Palmer, I think, is, if I remember rightly, he's a central midfielder, is a player that isn't playing tonight and could well be involved at some point, whether starting from the bench or a starting place, I don't know, but he could be involved. So yeah, I don't think it's possibly going to be as much of a weakened team as maybe we would. Cole Palmer, yes, that's right, James. Thank you very much. His first name escaped me. I remember his name was Palmer, but yeah, he's not playing tonight in the 23, so I expect he's going to be involved in the squad tomorrow. Yeah, like I say, it probably won't be as weak a team as we would like it to be, but it'll be a strong team. But listen, we got to go out there. We should be confident. You know, yes, they're a fantastic team, and yes, we play this game 8 times. We play this 10 times. We probably lose it, 7 or 8. But we got to make sure that tomorrow night is one of the 2 or 3 times that we don't.
Charlie, what about you? If City play a relatively rotated side or a heavily rotated side, and we sort of play the Europa League team as such, where would your confidence levels lie?
I'd go in there to walk into the stadium tomorrow night thinking we've got a chance, certainly. But I'd be a hell of a lot more confident if I see all those big names starting than the first team. I think we can, our bench, even against their bench, we can certainly give them a game. We've seen Moyes' tactics work wonders in the recent weeks where we just don't concede goals. So if they haven't got their firepower on, we can certainly hold them out, and it might go to a 0-0 and go to penalties, which would be interesting. But yeah, as I say, I think that would be, if we saw that team from City that that has been rumoured, I don't particularly expect it, because I think there's no way you win 4 of these competitions in a row by not taking it seriously, by playing the kids. This is Guardiola's, and there was a point raised on I think it was Kickoff that I watched the other day. They raised a good point that Guardiola uses this to start off the season right, to win the first trophy, even if all the other competitions go to shit, then he's got it in the bank that we've won a trophy this season. We haven't got a trophy this season. He always loves this trophy, and he's, as we can see, by winning 4 in a row. So I think he'll take it seriously, and I think if we don't take it seriously, we'll be in trouble.
So then, the last thing, I want to get both your predictions, but before we get there, the last sort of thing I wanted to ask is, what if we do lose? Because obviously, this is the thing that concerns me a little bit about this game. Is I think I can't remember who I said this to, but it might have been James on E20's own TV. But it's kind of the wrong game at the wrong time and the wrong people. What if we do lose? Because obviously we're talking about this now in terms of how we can win and how we can push it forward. But my concern is a little bit how much of the wind gets taken out of our sails if we do end up losing this game. City are obviously a very, very good team. Even their second string probably costs more than half of the Premier League's combined first strings. That's the kind of level of disparity we're talking about with these sort of sides. If we lose this game, how I'm concerned about the negative impact it will have on the team, and specifically the 11 people on the pitch. And part of me thinks that it might be better to rotate specifically to protect the confidence levels of a lot of those players. There are certain people I think even I couldn't rotate. Cresswell, I wouldn't rotate out, for example, because I think putting Masuaku in at left wing, at left back in a back 4 is tantamount to giving up a goal. It's horrendous. It really is. And I like Masuaku going forward, but if we're playing a back 4, no. I wouldn't rotate Fornals, for example. You brought up Fornals earlier, because he brings that work rate and he has the energy levels. But outside of that, I would be a bit concerned about if we did end up losing with our full strength side, what that does to the confidence levels, because we are playing with such confidence right now and such professionalism. I wouldn't want to see that negatively impacted, in the same sense of winning the League Cup early. Winning a League Cup is so early in the season, it sets up the rest of your season to be a success, as you were just alluding to there, Charlie. I think you can the other way around. If we get beat by City tomorrow, but even if we get beat, even if it's a little bit, but if we get beat heavily by them, I would be concerned what kind of effects that would have on the mentality of the team going into the next game. Does that concern you at all, Charlie? Is that anything that you would ever be worried about? Or do you think Moyes has it sorted to the point where we don't need to be concerned about that?
Yeah, I mean, the change around from the last time I was on the channel, when I was slating Moyes like the rest of the fan base, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I don't worry about that now. I'm picking up on what Gonzo said a few times. We don't lose 2 games in a row, and if we do, certainly don't lose 3 games in a row. We've seen from losing the Brentford game, that was crushing, the way that we lost that in the last minute. The United game was ridiculous, the way that ended. That to bounce back from both of those two, and I've been saying how important the cup is, to lose to Man City in the League Cup, that's not going to affect the players as much as some of them horrible defeats that we've had in recent weeks that we've bounced back from perfectly.
Gatesy, does that concern you at all?
To use the Tyson Fury saying, you step into a shower, you're going to get wet. Okay, you play professional sport, you're not going to win every game. Now, if our full strength 11 goes in against Manchester City in whichever form they put out, and they're going to put out a strong team, I'm quite sure. And if it doesn't come good on the night for us, there's absolutely no shame in it. And I think that the players will understand that. They'll obviously be disappointed, but I don't think they'll come off the pitch if it doesn't go our way and be all doom and gloom and it will, really fundamentally affect their confidence going forwards. I think they'll say, okay, we were beaten by a team that are the defending champions in this competition. They've won it the last 4 seasons on the bounce. They obviously take it seriously, and they're the Premier League champions. They're a team of stars throughout. So I don't think it would damage confidence fundamentally. Yeah, it'd be a bit of a dent, but I don't think it would, going beyond that point, be something that I'd be concerned about. No.
And then finally, I'll ask you both your score predictions. I'll ask you in terms of if West Ham play the lineup that you sort of want us to play, a very strong lineup, barely rotated at all, maybe 1 or 2 players out, but mostly the 11 that we have against the City side who have, let's say, a small amount of rotation, a similar thing where they're playing pretty full strength, but you've got some like Cole Palmer, for example, in there, but the rest of the team would be De Bruyne and whoever, right? I'd like your both of your score predictions. Before I say that, remember, everyone, this video is happening because of Hammers Chat Patreon, patreon.com/Hammers Chat. This was a conversation that happened in the group chat, and we were like, this seems like a good video, and also it gives me an excuse to step on and once again say Geo Gonzo are wrong. I might even agree with them slightly more than these two do in this specific example, but I don't care. They're wrong, and I want to be able to say that. I've put it in the thumbnail. You see where I'm coming from. But if you want to get involved in the future, patreon.com/Hammers Chat. It's a thing. I would say, though, do it at the beginning of the month because you save money. Don't do it now because you get charged when you join and then at the beginning of the month. So if you do it now, you get charged in like 5 days. Save your money for 5 days. Go get a Greg's or something, relax. And hey, if you're in the chat, let me know your score predictions as well in that specific instance. But Gatesy, if you were to say City with the slightly rotated lineup, like people Cole Palmer and that in, but the West Ham lineup, you want to see basically full strength with a couple of boys in there, what would be your score prediction?
85th minute, Thomas Souček from a set piece, rising like a salmon, puts it in the onion bag. We win it 1-0. Done.
I'll take that, and also excellent use of the onion bag. Charlie, prediction?
Well, without trying to copy Gatesy, if they've got the likes of Cole Palmer in there, I was going to say I think 1-0, whether it's 85th minute or 5th minute, I think might as well do a shutout and we'll win 1-0. If it's a team that I think more likely we'll see with rotated bench players rather than the youngsters, I've just got a feeling it's going to be a penalty shootout, and let's say we win it.
I just said this on Two Spanners, but I do think City will score regardless. But I can't not back us right now. I really can't. I'm saying 2-1 West Ham. And I have belief that no matter what side we put out, and I would probably put out closer to a Europa League side than anything else, there would certainly be some rotation in there. For example, I would rest Bowen. I would rest Antonio. I would probably rest Rice and Souček. There's definitely some rotation I would do if possible. Rice and Souček might not be possible because Corral might not be fit, but if he's available, for example, all that sort of stuff, then I would certainly rotate. But even then, I'm confident that the boys, like I know them, I'm confident that the 11 players we put out on the pitch will know exactly what they're doing and exactly what they need to do to get the win, or at least give Manchester City as good as they got. If I was to say out of 10, I would say a 10 in confidence that we're actually going to give them a game regardless, and a 7 out of 10 for the result. There is one question I wanted to ask Gatesy. Robert Singleton asks, why are you sitting in your coat? Are you too tight to put the heating on? I thought we should just end with I felt like that was an important question.
Mr. Singleton, it's a hoodie. It's my local rugby team's colours. There you go. Dartford Valley, you give them a plug. There you go.
There you go. And also give people to plug your channel, Gatesy. Let the people know where they can find you usually as well.
You're very kind to let me do that, Charlie. It's Forge from Iron West Ham United. For those of you that don't know, if you just go onto YouTube, put that into the search bar, you'll probably get as far as putting Forge from in, and that will take you to where we are. We're very, very close. Last I looked, we're at 966 subscribers, so we're getting closer to that 1,000 mark, which obviously then the fun begins, and YouTube unlock a few little goodies and all the rest of it. So if any of you haven't, it would really be appreciated if you could go on there and just click subscribe. Even if you never watched the stream, it would help us out tremendously. Thank you.
And Charlie, thank you as well for coming on. I appreciate it. I'll get you on for Two Spanners at some point. The Patreon exclusive podcast, which again, Ham's Chat, Patreon, all that good stuff. But thank you very much for watching, everyone. Like the video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're around here. All that good stuff. Remember to go watch the actual preview in which Geo and Gonzo are wrong. And feel free to leave in a comment. Again, I would stress, feel free to leave in the comments that they are wrong. And you can say that I sent you. I don't mind, but just let them know that they're wrong. I feel like that's the important thing we should all get out of this experience. But make sure to go watch that if you're watching live. It's on our channel. If you're watching after the fact, it will be about to appear on your screen. Thanks for watching. Like the video, subscribe, all that good stuff. Come in your minds, and we will see you next time. Thank you, everyone.